So look at frequency polygons. Now all a frequency polygon really is it's sort of like a bar chart but for continuous data. Although I'm going to show you this first example, and you remember drawing something very similar to this when we were doing some bar charts. I remember we talked a little bit about whether we have gaps or no gaps. So this was, when you draw this as a bar chart, so we're just sticking a bar for Monday and a bar for Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. Because one continues to the next, it's quite acceptable actually just to have them kind of connected together with no gaps in there. So what we've got just here is in a frequency polygon. All it is I just put a 1 for Monday, a 2 for Tuesday, 4 for Wednesday, 2 for Thursday, and that's all we've got. There we go, Saturday and Sunday. Polygon just means that we're going to join it together with straight lines. That's all. Now this is quite useful actually, because this is sort of like a time series with one flowing into the next. Monday goes into Tuesday, that goes into Wednesday, etc. So it's actually not a bad idea to do it like this, and it would be quite good if you can sort of continue the next week. So there we go, done. So effectively that's a frequency polygon, but it's a bit like a bar chart. Okay, that's the same sort of thing. What we're more likely to see for a frequency polygon is maybe something a little bit more like this next one that we're going to have a look at. So there we go, let's have a look. So let's move that across so you can see. Here we go. So I've already drawn it out, or I've already drawn the axes for you. So here, draw a frequency polygon for the height of some children getting in the table below. So I've gone and measured the heights, lots of children, okay? Lots of pupils, and we've got their heights here. So 4 people were from 150 to 155, 3 people were from 155 and 160, and so on. Now, where do we plot these? Now remember, I don't want to do, it doesn't really make too much sense to do a bar chart here, although I could kind of get away with it because all of these intervals are the same. The more sensible thing here to draw is a frequency polygon. So 4, where do I plot? Oops, let's move it so you can see it. Sorry. Where do I plot the 4? Between 150 and 155. So slap bang in the middle. Okay, so 152.5. So I'm going to make a 4 there. Just another note, mine actually starts from 150. Strictly speaking, you should start from 0 and have a little squiggle, but actually that's fine to do that. Alright, 155 to 160, frequency is 3. So what's in the middle? 157.5. Notice the scale that I've used along here. What I did is actually had a look at this before, had a little think about how big to make it, and I thought, well, I knew I was going to plot against the middle, so if I can go across in 2 squares, it'd be better, because then it's nice and obvious where to go and plot. So 160, 165, that goes to 6, and then the next one goes to 8, and the next one goes to 12, so I'm just going to have to move that up slightly. There we go. And then it goes to 5, and then the last one goes to 2. Then we just join those together. There we are. Nearly there. Oops, that'll tick up there. And this gives us a much better sort of feeling of what the data looks like, what the distribution looks like. All right. There we go. So let's go. Right, so let's just quickly go back to that first question, because there's something on that first question I want to have a look at. So we just did this a second ago. So I'm gonna change the question a little bit and just show you how easy this is. All right. So what about if we added an extra person to the data? So here we go. What about if we had somebody else in there? So we've got Manpreet, we've got represented on here, and I can easily put, let's say Jack in this case, on the same information, right, on the same diagram. Maybe if I do it in a different color, okay? So let's maybe use a different color. So for Jack, Monday was 2, Tuesday is 1, comes down to 0 and 2 and 3, and then goes to 4, and then goes back down to 0. There we go. So actually it's not a bad way of getting more than one lot of information on the diagram. There you go. There we go. We've got Jack. Excellent. So what's missing? Some sort of scale, some sort of key rather. So this one is, so that's Jack, isn't it? All right. And we also had, so put another line in, and then we've got Manpreet as well. There you go. And number of hours telly watched by each of them. We could add a third colour to that, couldn't we? Right? It'd be quite easy to go and add some more to it. Obviously, the more you add to it, then it kind of comes a little bit confusing. But sort of, you know, if there's only a couple on there, then it's much easier to look at the differences between these two. Right. So we've got a couple of different types of frequency polygons here, right? So we've got something there where we can easily put 2 on the same diagram. And then we had the other one that we looked at, which, you know, when I think frequency polygon, I'll be honest, that's usually what I'm kind of thinking a little bit more, where we've got these range of numbers and we plot against the midpoint. Now note, this only works nicely because these intervals are all the same. If they're not the same, then maybe a frequency polygon isn't the right idea, but that's a different lesson. Alright, so you can have a go at try and do a few questions on this, right? Draw a few frequency polygons.